Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. So today we're going to be tackling the lower undead berg, but before I dig into that, I have a couple quick errands I want to run. Now, I'm hoping this is my last errand run for quite a while, but we just need a few more things to get fully kitted out, and then we'll be ready to kick ass. So with that said, let's go take care of the first thing. So I'm back in the undead parish, in the area where the armored boar was, and I've cleared out this whole section because this arena is actually the best place to fight the Black Knight we saw in the last episode, who's hanging out at the top of that tower. Now this particular Black Knight is actually significantly more dangerous than the last one that we fought. He's equipped with a great sword, so he hits a little harder, and I think he's a little more aggressive. Look at him up there, just waiting. Now, definitely fighting him in the tower is suicide. It's extremely difficult, there's just not a lot of room to move around, and as you maybe saw there, his sword swings can actually pretty much hit every area on the top of the tower. That's why we're going to pull him down to the arena below. Yeah, sometimes kiting enemies in Dark Souls can be a little bit difficult. They don't necessarily have like an area that they'll only stick to, but they do have an aggro radius to where if you get outside of it, they'll return back to whence they came. Especially guys like the oh god. Yeah, he's definitely following me down, so let's head back down to the arena and fight this guy. I'm also going to attempt to refrain from using Lightning Spear quite as much in this episode, mainly because I feel like it makes such quick work of enemies that I don't actually get to show them off very well. There are a few good ways to take care of this Black Knight. One is well, that's not it at all. Yeah, this is when I realized that, okay, this guy's not dicking around, and I should stop dicking around as well. Now what I'm trying to do here is just show off some of his moves and everything like that. And that's totally what I'm trying to do. And of course then I immediately dig into some Lightning Spear. But there's a couple interesting ways to take care of this Black Knight. And if you're under-leveled and you want to take him out, one of the best ways to do that is actually by luring him into one of these fires on either side of the arena. It's actually a little difficult to do, as you'll soon see. And it's not particularly effective or safe. I got him once there, but it only does a little bit of damage. As always, sometimes the best offense in Dark Souls is simply making a few quick strikes, getting out of there before he can respawn. Or, you know, accidentally setting yourself on fire. However, you can see what I actually managed to trap him here and kill him using the fire. Now, you can actually get him stuck back there and he'll just bounce off of it, but it can be rather frustrating for a low-leveled player to be able to get him in there. However, if you really need to get him killed and you're really hoping for that Black Knight Greatsword, that's a good way to get it. The next thing I want to show off is probably the best grinding spot in the early game. And we're actually standing at the first bonfire in the Undead Berg, but you won't be able to do this until after you've killed the first boss and triggered the dragon on the bridge. Now this doesn't get you a ton of souls, but it does quite a bit for the early game, and it can be rather effective to do quickly. Basically, you're going to run up on this bridge, then run back down as quick as you can. Dragon will burn all the skeletons and undead up on the bridge, and give you 555 souls. All told, the run takes about 30 seconds, netting you about 1,000 souls every minute, which is pretty impressive, especially at low levels. Like I said, if you need to grind out a few extra points of vitality or endurance to take on the next boss, this is a really good way to do it, and it's generally safe. Now, the reason we're grinding souls at this point is I wanted to get up to 20,000 souls so we could go pick up that Crest of Artorias I was talking about in the last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go pick that up now. To pick up the Crest of Artorias, we need to visit Andre the Blacksmith in the Undead Parish.
Well, hello again. You seem to be doing all right. Need anything forged?
And I was also planning on upgrading our sword to the next level, but then I realized that I'm short by about 300 souls. So unfortunately we're not going to be able to do that right now, but that's okay. It's still serving us just fine.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Now the Crest of Artorias opens a secret door in the Darkroot Garden, which is, of course, down this hallway and past that horrible thing that we noped the last time. But don't worry, we're not going to fight him, because he's a bastard, and I really don't want to deal with him right now. So we're just going to run right on past. This guy is a Titanite demon, and he's a particularly nasty enemy, though when we finally take care of him, he actually won't respawn. We're just going to leave him alone for now, mainly because, well, we've got this beautiful forest to explore. The Darkroot Garden and Darkroot Basin are easily two of my favorite areas in the game. They are a stark contrast to the bleary stonework of the Undead Berg and Undead Parish. It is, of course, still very dark, and still full of monsters that want to kill us. These enemies are called Ents. They're not particularly dangerous, you just need to take your time and whittle them down slowly. They do have one attack that's a grab that they'll do a significant amount of damage against you if you let them hit you, so make sure to avoid that if at all possible. Or, I guess I could just, try Lightning Spear. The Blood Red Moss Clump is useful against enemies that cause the bleeding affliction, because you can actually use it to reduce your buildup before it actually hits the point where you're bleeding. Note that you can't use it after you're bleeding, it will not cure it. Ents also have a chance to drop the Purple Moss Clump and Blooming Purple Moss Clump. Purple Moss Clumps not only reduce poison buildup, but actually cure poison. And the blooming ones also cure toxin, which is basically a worse version of poison. Sneaky little fuck. That is, of course, one of Dark Souls' many traps. You're hoping you're going to run forward and engage the one on the far side of the area, and let the other one spawn in behind you to, vine lash you to death. You'll notice that glowing door in the far-off distance. That's actually the door that our Crest of Artorias opens. Now, it looks like there's only this other path, but let's just see about this wall. There are a number of illusionary walls in Dark Souls. They're actually pretty easy to find simply because they're generally going to be pointed out by a million of those glowing messages on the ground that say illusionary wall. I have been faked out, of course, by messages that say illusionary wall in front of a wall that is, in fact, a wall. Now, we actually have a couple different things to take care of down here, but first I want to see what's behind this door. a little lore and backstory for you. Sounds like we're going to be opening this up into an interesting area. Now, this is not a side area. It's actually an essential part of the game that you'll need to explore to progress. It's a wide open space and is basically the other half of the Darkroot Garden. There's a lot of stuff to explore here, but I also want to show off one really important thing about this place. For the majority of the game, this is the best grinding spot in Dark Souls, and soon you'll see why. Basically what you want to do is run into that forest, aggro some of the bandits that are hiding in there, and then hide in this little spot. For whatever reason, their AI causes them to run up on top of this little outcropping, and then jump down on top of you, which sends them to their death. There are actually several bandits in that initial area of woods, and if you can get a full pull and get all of them, and then run over there, you can watch them as they jump off the side and fill your soul's bank with loot. Note, this is not the best way to do this particular run. I have not done this very much because, frankly, I don't understand the need to grind in this game. There are a ton of enemies that you can kill in the normal progression, and you'll gain plenty of levels doing it. However, if you find yourself in need of some souls for a particular item or other such advancement, this is a great place to come pick up the stuff to do it. Especially if you're actually paying attention like I wasn't. Oh. Well, that actually worked out pretty well for us. Of course, it's important to note that these guys are actually pretty dangerous foes, and if you don't quite do it right, they can be especially violent about what you're trying to do to them. Yeah, and they're a much higher level than we are, so yeah, do at your own risk for sure. Anyhow, that aside, we have two more quick things I want to do in the Darkroot Garden before we head onward in the game. The first is actually something of a suicide run, although I don't actually intend to die. I'm really going to do my best to live through it and get back to the bonfire in one piece. Note for anybody playing this game, do not pick up this item on the ground. It's a crappy soul of the Nameless Soldier, and it spawns 3 Ents that will come and try to destroy you. The worst part is, they will be aware and spawned every other time you try to run through here, instead of having to be reactivated. Basically, by picking up that item, you add 3 enemies to this area that you'll have to deal with. It's really better left alone. Now take note that I'm going to run quickly through this, because I don't actually intend to stay here and clear this area. We're simply here to pick up an item. So I intend to run in, piss off a few enemies, and then run back before they can kill me. Hopefully. As you can see, it's no small group of monsters that were guarding that treasure. And don't worry, we'll take a look at it in just a second, but for now, let's try to lose this motley crew in the forest. Yeah, the nice thing about resting at a bonfire is that it resets all the enemies, so as long as they're not too close to you, it'll let you sit down, and then it'll put them back where they were, instead of having them, you know, come and kill your face. So let's see what we got for that. We essentially picked up one of my favorite armor sets in the game for the medium armor. It's got a lot of good stats, it has decent weight, and it looks freaking awesome. It's going to really round out our paladin profile for sure. You'll note that while the items weigh slightly, or in this case significantly more, the stats are universally better, the poise is relatively good, and overall, they're very good defensive stats. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. So now we're a fully armored, holy sword wielding, lightning spear tossing paladin of holy sunlight, ready to just murderate all the monsters. But you'll also notice we are really slow. This is called fat rolling, and it basically means that we're over 50% equipment burden. For the record, fat rolling I don't think is the actual terminology, but either way, it's pretty bad. You definitely want to try to be under 50% equipment burden so that you can run at least this quickly and roll at a decent speed. So it looks like we'll have to avoid our helmet for now. But that's alright, it lets us show off our lovely flowing locks. Anyway, we just have one more thing to go take care of, so through the magic of editing, let's check that other passage that we saw near the entrance to the Darkroot Garden. This pathway actually leads into the Darkroot Basin, which is sort of a side part of the Darkroot Garden. You'll note the crystal lizard off in the distance there. Just watch how effective I am at just murdering crystal lizard with my lightning spear. Yeah, that's not so great. That's alright, he'll be back next time we spawn. Now this area is actually another hub in Lordran. It connects several other areas and kind of serves as a good way to get around. If you like, you know, the constant threat of falling off a cliff. There's also a great leather set, as well as longbow and arrows here. Now we'll be going up this way shortly, but first we're going to check out what's on the other side of this cliff face. I'm not preparing for anything. I just equipped lightning spear because, you know, I felt like it. Of course there's a Dark Knight with a halberd down here. This guy is also very dangerous. You're on a slim area, there's certain death to one side, and certain death in hugging this guy. Nothing a few lightning spears won't hopefully take care of. Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. I think he bugged as if he was going to go back to his sort of spot where he stands, and I really trivialized the encounter. Anyway, he dropped a new type of Titanite. Blue Titanite is for upgrading weapons along the magic upgrade path. The Grass Crest shield is one of my favorite shields in the game. It has an awesome enchantment on it, which basically increases your stamina regeneration by a pretty significant percentage. It can really mean the difference between life and death in a fight where you're stamina tanking. Now, this cave has a bonfire in it, which is awesome, and it leads, actually, back to an area that we've been to before. Yes, that tunnel, if you eventually follow through, heads to the Valley of the Drakes, that area where we got killed by that totally dead but still apparently alive undead dragon. It's the other side of the valley from there, and we're not really going to be bothering with going there for quite a while. I realized at this point that I was actually done with my errands, but I was already here, so we might as well take on one more thing, since it'll actually be pretty helpful to us from now until probably close to the end of the game. So bear with me as I extend our episode by just a little bit longer to go exploring just a little bit more. These guys are crystal golems, and they are tough. They're not fun to deal with, they hit really hard, and they have some crazy cool AoEs. And they're very resilient to my damage. I mean, they are made out of crystal after all. So let's try our old trusty standby, the lightning spear. Yep, it turns out that our overpowered old friend still continues to be awesome. Now, if you follow down that way, you actually head to a lake and a really neat mini-boss, but we're not going to bother with it for right now. We'll be coming back here later. Why, what's this? A tower and a door in the middle of the forest. And I actually noticed here, you can actually see the guy right on the other side of the door for some reason. He's just hanging out there waiting for us to just hop on in like an idiot. Meet Havel, one of the most dangerous knights you can encounter in the game. If you're thinking, man, Havel looks incredibly heavily armored, that's because he is. He is a tank. He has a ton of hit points. He hits extremely hard. He's actually kind of nimbly-pimbly for such an overweighted son of a bitch, and he will really mess you up. Especially when he two-hands his giant dragon tooth mace. Lightning Spear, you'll notice, is not actually making quick work of him. It's still taking quite a bit of time and effort to even get a hit in otherwise. Yeah. He hits kind of hard, too. Now, I'm really sorry. I did actually go kill Havel, but when I went to edit the footage, it turned out for some reason that Fraps didn't record the audio. He did drop in a really amazing ring, which basically boosts our equipment load by 30 full points, meaning we can equip a whole bunch of heavy armor and still be relatively nimbly-pimbly, which is why Uther is now wearing his awesome helmet. Now then, with all that stuff out of the way and 24 minutes into the video, let's actually get started with the next area of the game. But before we do that, let's see what Mr. Crestfallen Warrior has to say about our ringing of the bell.
Why, what a surprise. I didn't expect you to make it. Oh, somebody rang the bell. Wait, was it you? You never give up, do you? I don't know how you do it. Well, don't stop now. Only one more. But it's going to be suicide.
Such an uplifting guy.
Don't you ever think to forge your weapons? You'd better find a smith box soon, unless you enjoy swinging about with blunt instruments. What's wrong? Get a bit of a scare out there? No problem. Have a seat and get comfortable. We'll both be hollow before you know it.
Alright then, with that, let's head to the first bonfire in the undead berg. and here we are. So now we're going to be basically heading up this ladder and then back across the dragon bridge, going to that locked door that we now have the basement key for. Trigger the dragon, scored a few free souls, and run right into the fucking fire. God damn it. Yeah, there's a weird timing issue on the fire that it's not the game's issue, it's my issue. I'm just really bad at running too early. My brain says, oh, that fire's probably done, but it's not. And now we just run like hell, and oh god, he's already breathing again. Maybe it won't get up there, is it? Oh, we should be in the clear now, so that's good. For fuck's sake. What a dick. Yeah, running back this way across the bridge can actually be relatively dangerous. It's a good thing we have our Ring of Favor and Protection. Now then, after we heal up, let's open this door and see what's in the lower undead berg. That was a long way down. Now, the lower undead berg is a really neat little area that's relatively small, but has some pretty neat encounters and a couple really cool little puzzle shortcuts. The first of which is right up these stairs here. Just another solid example of the incredible level design of this game. You should recognize this room as the room where we, well, you know, where we fought all these undead, right across the bridge, the small bridge that is, from the first bonfire in the undead berg. Right over there. How far we've come. Now, the lower undead berg can be relatively dangerous because there are a lot of monsters here that do bleeding damage. Bleeding is really shitty. I don't know why every game has got to have just mean, angry, weirdly hairless undead dogs that want to eat your face. I blame Resident Evil, but seriously, just I feel bad for the dogs. Before we explore the main alley, let's actually head down here to the... Nope, not this one.
Somebody! Please let me out of here.
Yeah, we
Somebody! Anybody! Help me! Unlock the door! Damn, I'm finished. How did this ever happen?
Now, unlike all the other doors in this area, you have to have the residence key for that door. The master key does not work on it.
Brilliant. You opened the door for me. Thank you. I'm saved. I thought I might never escape. I am Griggs of Vinheim, a sorcerer of the school. I am much obliged for your assistance. Thanks to you, I may now resume my travels. Oh, hello. I'm fine. I will rest a while, then return to Firelink Shrine. I have my sorcery, and I will be more cautious next time. Besides, I have an important task at hand.
I see a body in a barrel over there that needs to be rolled on. Sweet. We just took a body out of a barrel and tore all of its clothes off, and yeah, I don't know. Down here in the side alley, we have several of those weak undead, but they're equipped with flaming brands. These guys are dicks, the fire damage actually does quite a bit to you, so be very careful here. As a reward for all of our efforts, a Twin Humanities. This item will actually give us 2 Humanities on our counter in the upper left corner of the screen instead of just 1 from the other items. We've picked up a couple. They are extremely useful, especially when you need Humanity, such as kindling bonfires. Yeah, fuck you, cart. Now, if you're playing online, there's going to be a lot of orange markers right around this area because, well, because it's a trap. These guys are undead assassins, and they can be pretty nasty. They have a long-range attack and several short-range attacks, all of which inflict bleed. They don't have a lot of hit points, and they don't have a lot of armor, but they can still be relatively dangerous. You'll notice that they're equipped with small shields, which means they have a very high parry window. And these guys can and will parry you if at all possible. Like I said. Luckily it doesn't do a ton of damage and you can easily recover. Now, that was poorly timed on my part, but got the job done. Now, this always made me really sad, because there's basically these assassins just sitting in this tiny, cubic room with nothing in it. It's just a blank room. I don't know, it's really sad, you guys. Anyhow, with the fucking bitches murdered, it's time to move on for the next part of the area. From Software, deciding to make a little change, does something completely different here. Well, nope, it's the same thing. Yeah, this is bad. Dogs and assassins, and they're all grouped up. It's just dangerous. As always, just take your time. Be careful. Plan your strikes accordingly. Sometimes I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but that's really the best advice I can give you for playing Dark Souls. That, and you know, just be careful. Sweet, another body in a barrel. It's one of my favorites. And in here we get the black leather set and the target shield. The target shield is actually arguably one of the best shields in the game because it has a high defensive values and also is a small shield, so it has the really large parry window. If you're going with a dex-based character that likes to do lots of quote-unquote critical damage, it's definitely a good one to try. Now we're going to be ignoring this fog gate just for a bit because I want to clear out the rest of the area and open up a much-needed shortcut. You know, this seems totally legit. I really want to run in there. I really do. I imagine there's nothing around for... Come on! Also, she's kind of shy, I think. Let's see what lights... What are you pointing at there? Oh, no. Okay. Well, that worked. I didn't expect it to work. I mean, I expected it to work. It just looked like he was going to lightning spear the ground or something. This door leads to the depths, the next level of the game. We don't have the key yet, so I'm guessing we're going to have to go check out that fog door back there. But before we do, we have one more tower to explore. This game really likes connecting things via towers. Spoilers, there's this connect... Anyway. It's just a horrible shot. Just wasn't even... I mean, he wasn't even trying to hit me. Can you guess where this is going to come out at?
Some of my moss. I need your souls.
What? Her laugh was so... Anyway, she sells the various moss clumps, like I was talking about, that drop in the Darkroot Garden. She also drops other poison-based items, like the throwing knife and the dung pile, as well as the very situationally useful transient curse. She also sells the purging stone, which is a great way to get rid of curse, but it costs a lot of souls. Anyway, we're going to pick up one transient curse that we won't be using for quite a few levels, but will eventually come in handy. If you haven't figured it out already, this is the aqueduct that leads to the Firelink Shrine, so let's go there really quickly. That sorcerer we saved is here.
Oh, hello. I regret meeting you under such compromising circumstances. At least we both made it back unscathed. Oh, hello. Terrific to see us both in one piece. And pray that you never go hollow.
Alright then. Well, let's quickly rest this bonfire and then head back from whence we came. Take on this fog door. Meet the Capra Demon, in my opinion one of the more difficult or at least frustrating boss fights in Dark Souls. Now, at this point I'm just trying to get my bearings and figure out what's going on, so bear with me as I kind of noodle around. You notice there are two dogs in here, as well as the dog. This is not, yeah. The fight with the Capra Demon is generally decided within the first 10 or 15 seconds. You gotta hop in and kill those dogs quickly. Let's head back. Okay, I'm here, I'm rested up, I'm ready to try that again. Fucking Capra Demon. So what you really want to do is get up these stairs as quickly as possible and try to lure the dogs up with you. If you can kill the dogs quickly, you'll be able to worry about the boss on his own. He's pretty dangerous, but the dogs are what really screw you up. They get in the way, they smack you around, they make you stop. They generally don't let you focus on the badassedness of this dude. So now that I've taken care of the two hounds, I can show off a couple important tactics about taking care of the Capra Demon. You'll no doubt already notice that he hits fast and he hits really hard. It's relatively quickly moving and is pretty dangerous, honestly. The tiny quarters of this area really don't help in my case. Whoa. Well, I dodged one of them at least. What I'm trying to show off here is one of the tactics you can approach the Capra Demon with. You get him up here, and then you have him walk towards you, where he'll fall down in the center, and then you can quickly move up the stairs and do the dropping attack on him like we've done with the last couple of bosses. You'll note that it's not quite as effective as it is with some of the others. Of course, there is the old... Oh, wow. That double overhand swing, by the way, is easily his most dangerous attack. You want to not get hit by that. Now, we've tried a couple things, so let's see what Lightning Spear does to this bitch. Goad him into... yeah, just... Of course, Lightning Spear still happens to be very powerful, but he's still got quite a bit of health left, and it's better to be safe than sorry. You'll note, though, that the room being small actually helps as much as it hinders. His pathfinding often causes him to walk into walls or to walk into different areas, and before you know it, he's made too many mistakes, the fight's over. If you can master that drop-down attack, it's a very quick and easy way to take care of this boss. But like I said initially, the first 10 seconds or so is what really defines whether or not you're going to be successful. Get away from those dogs, get away from the entrance, and get out of his line of sight for just a few seconds, so you can take care of them, and then focus on the demon himself. The first time I played Dark Souls, I banged my head against the wall with the Capra Demon for hours. It made me quit several times. He is very unforgiving to unprepared or unsuspecting players. If he's giving you a hard time, just take a deep breath, take it easy, and you'll eventually succeed. It's just some motivational words for you. Hilariously, I think the errands actually took quite a bit longer than the level itself to complete, but we've managed to kit ourselves out in some really sweet armor, pick up a few extra souls as well as the grinding spot, and kill the Capra Demon, one of my least favorite bosses in the game. As always, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you next time for the depths on Let's Play Dark Souls.